leads us to the finale. Bradley, you've been playing Kingdom Hearts 2. How was your experience?
Dude, Kingdom Hearts 2 is the fucking game.
He said it. He said it, not me, for once.
I've been playing it on Critical for the first time ever, doing the super bosses. It is like playing a different video game. When I was 10, if you took out the drive and the MP bar, I wouldn't have noticed.
I at least used those when I was 10.
But now, like, delicately managing these resources is necessary to maybe have a chance at beating some of these bosses.
And I was kind of worried when I kind of urged you to do critical. I was like, oh god, I do hope that it's not too much, because I may lose track of, because I don't think it's like that hard on base critical. Like, it's a fair challenge, it's a good challenge, and maybe you agree, or maybe you think some fights are too hard. But I was worried that my experience with it was skewing my memory of how hard it could be on base critical.
No, it's better than I thought it would be, and I'm glad you convinced me to do critical. The funny thing is, I was 5 hours in already when y'all convinced me to do critical, and I was like, oh, I don't want to fucking restart. I'm 5 hours in. I guess I didn't realize how many cutscenes are in the first section of the game.
Oh, you can do Roxas in about 30 minutes.
Dude, yeah, no, I was 5 hours in. I restarted on critical, skipped every cutscene, got back to where I was in less than an hour.
That's how it goes.
Nice.
Bradley was sharing clips of some of the harder fights, and it got me to start playing again for the first time in years. And I've never platinumed Kingdom Hearts 2, so I've been doing some of the cleanup work for that as well. But because I had the option of skipping all the cutscenes, I did have some progress. I pretty much beat the game in like a day or two.
Now, here's the only... I don't know if it's the only downgrade. This is the one downgrade from Kingdom Hearts 1. I complained about the world design in Kingdom Hearts 1 sometimes. I actually think I like the world design in Kingdom Hearts 1 better.
I knew you'd say that. I came in here, you've activated my trap card with that one. And you know what? I know why you say that, because that's a very valid argument.
Because here's my... The Kingdom Hearts 1 world designs are fucking infuriating sometimes, because it's like, where the fuck do I go?
Have fun falling down Hollow Bastion and having to climb your ass up.
Oh my god. But here's the thing. Obviously, they simplified it in Kingdom Hearts 2. They simplified it a little too much. Like, I show up to the fucking... I don't know, I show up to the... In Nightmare Before Christmas, it's the screen with all the trees, and it's like, okay, well, there's just 4 treasure chests all sitting out in the open. I want to at least look for them a little bit.
Yeah, they're
sometimes they're hidden behind an object.
Yeah, I that was something like years ago when I was playing Kingdom Hearts 2, before Kingdom Hearts 3. I was just like, these level designs are really simple. Like Mulan is quite literally the camp, the stream, and then the end. Like that's kind of it.
You really should not play this game with me, because I can literally tell you every map of every screen, because I am that much of a stan. There are about 8 or 9 maps in Mulan, okay? Maybe even a little more, because when you go to the palace, there's actually 3 separate sections. But I digress. You are right. They're really simple. But I will say this. Kingdom Hearts 2 strove to refine the combat system, and it made environments that wouldn't make the combat system frustrating while still making the environments different. For example, you mentioned Halloween Town. That's a very small world. It's got Santa's house, the carousel in the front, the snow tree area, the Halloween tree area, the path, the hill, the path to the town, and the town. So it's not that many areas.
One of the smallest ones.
It's probably one of the smallest. But there's some neat things here where it's like, okay, that carousel in the middle in front of Santa's house is where I go to grind Master Form, because it's the best place to grind it. So it's got like that going for it. And then once you get to that little path before Halloween Town, those fucked up graveyard things spawn that will just melt you in seconds. And then you go to like the little hill and you have to deal with the hill. So like, they basically made a bunch of like neat little battle arenas as opposed to platforming areas, which makes it less interesting. But I do think they will then go on to use the platforming in more interesting ways in the Cave of Remembrance, and in combat itself. You have to do some of your mobility abilities that you would use for platforming, get some play there. So I think It's yeah, you could I sort of even agree, but I think that there are positives to the simpler design too. If that makes
Dude,
sense.
that's the thing. The Cave of Remembrance, that was added in Final Mix, so I didn't remember it from when I was little. So I was fucking tripping whenever it got unlocked, and they unlock it way before realistically you're ready for
And
it.
it's so smart because you're gonna get to it. You'll get past the first obstacle, which is Valor Form's high jump. But
Yeah.
then, as soon as you get to the second one, which is Wizard Form's dash, you probably don't have that leveled up yet. So you very quickly
Mhm.
key into what's going on here. Also, the enemies will fuck you up. So there's
That's
that.
the thing. I thought it was really cool that if you want to get to the super bosses, you gotta prove you know how to play the fucking game first.
Not only through movement, but also the combat encounters are
That's
really
the thing.
That last
We were
room
just
is
talking
crazy.
about this. That last room before you get to the data fights is as hard as some data fights.
It really is, and like I did not have once or a second chance. Yeah, I didn't have second chance, so they were just killing my ass. So it took me a long time to get there,
God
even
damn.
at level 50. And I've done that at level 1 somehow. Joe was like, I spent 2 hours on this Resident Evil boss. Bitch, that's every boss when you're doing
Yeah.
level 1. Oh, but
I'm
it's-
sure.
But like,
Oh, dude, I
think,
can't imagine doing this shit at level 1.
But like, the basis is the same. You just have less resources to work with. Like,
yeah.
But I like watching Bradley play. He's keyed into like how the revenge system works and like how to use reflect and how to navigate the menu. Like the game will push you to learn those things. I've always been a fan of summons, but they're kind of unintuitive for a lot of newer players to use. But they
That's the thing. Like,
there's a lot there.
it's crazy. When you're little, I feel like your instinct is just to like, oh, obviously just hit the fucking enemy as much as you possibly can whenever you can. Use your drive whenever you can because drive forms are strong. And it's like, no, like there's correct times to do these things. There's correct ways to go in on an opponent.
And it's great because like the game's good because a child who wants to play a Disney game can go play on easy and not have to learn that, and an adult at 26 who one day woke up and wanted to play Kingdom Hearts could play Critical and be like, oh shit, I have to like learn these things. I'm just
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Like there's no fundamental difference between the combat system on the easiest difficulty and the hardest difficulty, but they feel like two entirely different games.
And I just feel vindicated because for years I'm like, y'all, the combat system of Kingdom Hearts is actually like really smartly designed. Particularly like you were talking about the resources, when it really clicks into like how and when you should use those resources and like how to build them back up mid combat, and you're doing that while dodging some insane data fight attacks. It's like it all just comes together in a really cool way.
Yeah, no, you're not crazy anymore. It's way better than I thought it would be.
Nah, gaslight the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
He can't. I've seen the spark in his eye. There's no lying now.
There's no going
Now,
back now.
Bradley,
He lit the gas.
how did the story hit as an adult? Because two is where not where things get super wacky, but they're heading there.
Dude, it's not so much the story. I think the story is still fucking cool. Sometimes the dialogue's a little weird, but
Yeah, they always have.
I mean,
wooden-
that's
in
Kingdom
in
Hearts,
all
I
of
don't
them
know.
they have wooden dialogue. Actually, yeah.
yeah.
But
So
it's weird because like the climax of 2 could have been the end of the series because they force you to watch that last cutscene, so I could not skip
it
it.
kind of felt like this is it, bro.
They all end up on the island together after these insane journeys, and the two villains of the two games are so like well linked, being like two different parts of each other. Like
They're perfectly linked. We finally found Kairi, finally found Riku, finally found Mickey. We beat all the bad guys. Like, come on.
And then, boom, out of nowhere from the top rope, Master Xehanort.
Yeah.
5 more games, bitch!
I was about to say, little did you know, we're like maybe a third of the way through the series.
Time travel.
Oh,
Now,
Christ.
here's the thing. I started a file on Birth by Sleep. I still got a few data fights left to do. I started a file on Birth by Sleep. Is it worth, like, people online shit on this game from what I've seen? Is it that bad? I've played it before. I don't remember it being that bad.
Okay, so. Birth by Sleep has a significant step down in combat from 2. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily worse than 1. there's an argument to be made for which one's better there. You'll remember that it has the command deck, right? You set up those commands.
Yeah, like that's something.
What's kind of engaging about that game is leveling up those commands and unlocking them all. That's like an addicting project to do mid game, and leveling up those forms that you go into. I forget. I think the forms are dependent on whatever magic you were using or like whatever kinds of attacks. I think you can level those up too, and that changes your base finisher. That's pretty addicting and fun. Problem is, the game doesn't have the revenge system value. So what'll happen is you'll be hitting enemies, and they will just kind of like, even when they were vulnerable, because in Cage 2, if someone's vulnerable, it's your turn until you push too far. In Birth by Sleep, it'll be a thing where you just don't know when they're going to strike you back. So you kind of have to start spamming some magic, and it all kind of starts falling apart. Not only that, your base combo feels bad, and your movements are really floaty. However, some people still love the game. I think you'll still like it, but now that you know what's good about 2, I think you'll be able to see some of the things I see in Birth by Sleep that I don't like.
The base combo has to feel good, because here's the thing. I feel like the first 5 or 6 hours of Kingdom Hearts 1, you just have the 3-hit combo, but it feels fucking good.
And then in 2, guard break into explosion is sex tier feedback. It feels
explosion
so good.
is like the most satisfying move ever.
I was so bummed when explosion wasn't in Sora's moveset, but his down smash is vicinity break. Or no, what's that other one? The one where you launch people by stabbing the Keyblade in the ground.
Oh god, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name.
Just the square. That is his down smash, so that always makes me smile.
Here's what's also crazy. I've always been the kind of guy where I'm like, I just want the Keyblade with the highest fucking strength value, okay?
Nah.
But I didn't realize how much of a difference these things fucking make. Like, for example, what's the combo finisher one?
Decisive Pumpkin, the go.
Decisive Pumpkin, swapping from another Keyblade to that made Explosion go from doing like 60% of a health bar to doing like over a health bar.
It's nuts. The scaling is crazy. There's also like if it's a magic based fight, boom, slap in that Ultima weapon.
Oh yeah.
And like throughout the journey though, you will use like all the Keyblades have like a moment where I think they're useful. So that's really nice. However, Birth by Sleep goes back to you just upgrade to the better one. There's no side stats in Keyblades. And the reason why you might see people hate on Birth by Sleep a lot is the super bosses are so fucking bad.
Are they that bad?
They are not challenging fun. They're not challenging in a fun way. They are bullshit. They are like,
way.
I'm going all out and doing multiple runs because they'll just kill me whenever they want. I'm not in control.
Damn.
The way you fight Vanitas, like Vanitas Remnant is one of the final bosses. You have to put down mines and just run away until he runs at him because you cannot attack him with actual attacks.
Do I just bite the bullet, watch the movie, and then go to what I really want to play, which is Coded?
You don't do that.
You shouldn't have to put in this much effort for a video game.
God.
Okay, but there are good things. I don't know. Play the first couple worlds
Terra.
and see.
Because like I
Terra.
remember liking it when I played it. Like I didn't think it was the shit, but
Bro, the fight against mysterious figure who is young Xehanort, but you know how they will foreshadow the next game with some of these bosses.
oh yeah.
That fight is just you spamming Thunder Surge and Curaga. Those are the only two things that go in your deck, and that is like the only viable strategy. That is it. Like, you don't really have many options. You're just spamming those two moves and praying to God that he doesn't wombo you.
Like, that's what sucks hearing that to me, is because in Kingdom Hearts 2 on these data fights, they're so goddamn fucking hard. But I feel like any given boss has like half a dozen strategies.
Yeah.
Because like, you'll see me do a strategy and you're like, I see what you're doing there. And then I watch you do the boss and I'm like, oh, okay.
There's player expression. There is not.
There is. Yeah.
It's like, those really cool abilities that you're going to grind up for, and like they take up 2 slots and they're these big fucking attacks. You're not going to use any of them against the harder bosses because they're not competitively viable. So, like,
Man.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be so negative and let you form your own opinions, but I will say play it, and if you're not feeling it, don't like it. Won't get if you're not feeling it, it won't get better. That's what I'll say,
At the very least, Aqua is in it,
and
and that'll
great.
be entertaining. And that's just, let's all clap for Aqua.
And then like, man, I'm excited for you to experience 3 with the DLC patches and Critical, because that is a very different game. 3 has the better combat, but the bosses don't utilize it as well as the 2 bosses until you hit the DLC, at which point the bosses make TH2 combat look like a little bitch.
No way.
Like they're brilliant. You're using
I want it.
everything. Like you don't have Reflect as a crutch. You don't have Duck Flare as a crutch. So you're gonna learn today, motherfucker. You're going to like.
That's the thing. Like
really
Reflect is too good. It's too good.
It's the one.
So Kingdom Hearts 3 has data fights, right, in the DLC?
Yes,
Or is
it has them all. Like the entire like all the 13 that you fight them in groups, if you remember at the end, where it's like you fight like 3 at a bunch and they have like 2 moves, which is really hype. And then they're just the most. Each single one of them is as difficult as a level 1 KH2 data fight. At level 90, at level 99. Granted, I did it without the Kupo coin that revives you once. You have that option, and they're really cheap. But without the Kupo coin, they're as hard as level 1 data fights in KH2 MMO.
See, that used to scare me, but now I'm just excited.
They're great.
Here's the
and-
other thing about KH3 when we were talking about world design. Does KH3 just have the best world design out of these games?
I would say easily.
Easily.
It's really particularly not even close. I know you guys don't like the Pirates world, but as I was getting the platinum for 3, that world became its own game in like a really fun way. Like they went kind of crazy on that world, for example, and then I don't know. I think they're really charming. And then like there's the monsters world that is kind of more like a KH2 world, but bigger with more set pieces. Where like it's more linear, but each room is more interesting than a KH2 room. So in every
and then there's
regard,
Toy Story, which is Pete.
That's just Pete.